I can't raise the mic. I'm just going to stand like this. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen! Where to begin? There's been some stirring speeches this evening. Thank you to Goran for your tender words of wisdom. I first met Goran on a cold, snowy night in Zagreb. We spent 5 hours boozing.
We did, not just you and I.
Well, we were selecting the wines for this evening. We worked tirelessly to make sure that you enjoyed yourselves tonight. Then, around nightfall, Goga approaches. She's wearing full-length fur. She looks at us with suspicion. She senses that we're refreshed. She said, "Go home. Go home to bed." Then I watched Goran work his magic. He turned it around for us, and before long, Goga was striding off into the night, straight through the snow, towards the Peppermint nightclub. Then came whiskey and late night dancing. I knew then you could talk the talk, but tonight you've excelled yourself. Joe. Jojo! Mate, the first line of your dissertation began, "Fabric softness softens fabric." I worried. But I knew that Eva stepped in that time and sorted it out. So I wasn't entirely sure that tonight would work, but I knew you had a good editor. You've outdone yourself tonight. Both of you. Goran as a father, Joe as a newlywed. Bravo.
Bravo.
Today has been one of the great days. One of the days I'll always remember. Congratulations to the happy couple. Woo. This is a union of two great families, two nations. From Darwin to Dubrovnik, long may we see them flourish. In seriousness, we must thank them both, the Holdens and the Wilhelms, Joe and Eva. You put on an extraordinary party this evening. Let us all raise a glass to the families that have done today so well. The Holdens and the Wilhelms. Eva, there is little I can say that won't have been said already. You look as beautiful today as a bride ever looked. You're a vision of loveliness. In the years that I've known you,
Oh no!
you've been elegant, razor sharp, and great fun. A rare combination. I'm going to sort that out later. Joe clearly found this intoxicating. Joe, you're extremely lucky to be standing here tonight next to Eva. A toast to the beautiful bride. Eva. Now, I've known Joe for more than 15 years, but in truth, our friendship blossomed rather late at school. I'm not sure why. I worry that Joe may have been appalled by my lack of sporting prowess. I was a B-team reject. I had 2 left feet and I was lazy. Someone's made this too high. Joe, of course, was a schoolboy legend. He was sporting glory. His athletic, confident and loud shrill shot across the football pitches in the same way as I imagine it dominates the floors at Nomura today. Up to this point, Joe had barely touched a drop of alcohol. He was, and still is, an extremely delicate athlete. He must not be poisoned or damaged. This boy bruises easily. This might seem quite a surprise to the boys that were on the stag and saw him dosed up with gin and thrown unceremoniously into an industrial wheelie bin. Before a game, he has curious routines that must be adhered to. No lazy mornings in bed with Eva. Oh no. Before a match, he's a tightly coiled spring and he needs proper nutrition. He must have the following: 4 slices of toast on an extremely large plate. A precisely equal portion of Heinz baked beans on each slice. Can I just be clear? Joe does not have OCD. But that's enough about the mental health issues. Back to our youth. We began going out in the metropolis of Blackburn. We started drinking Orange Reef. We charmed the ladies and we listened to a lot of pop. Now wait, I might lose it now. I recall the bizarre routines that Joe and I used to employ when we started to prepare going out for a Friday night. First, and if Phil wasn't in there already, we'd hit the gym. We'd get pumped. We'd watched Arnie's Pumping Iron for motivation. And then we'd listen to Westlife. Endless rounds of cheery Irish pop. You'd thought I would have repressed it, but it's not. It's stuck there forever. And tonight, I haven't put in a request, but that's going to be my special one for us, mate. He was a tough customer about this time. He took no prisoners. His favourite trick was to go out to come home with more money than he went out with. Model training for today's employment. He's always been a trendsetter. But at university, his already boundary-pushing sense of personal style began to morph into a dangerous, untamable thing. There'd been misdemeanours previous to his life at Nottingham. Who could forget the non-uniform day when he rocked up wearing a mid-calf-length leather skirt? But at university, he began to own a new, avant-garde style of dressing. He was like an installation, a piece of conceptual art. There were dog tags, artfully ripped denim, and trucker caps. Speaking to a Nottingham contemporary recently, and he will remain anonymous, I recorded the following. This guy was awkwardly cool. I wanted to talk to him because I knew that he was cool, but possibly gay. He had so many shoes. I thought he looked great, but in truth, I didn't want to look like him. Yes, Joe pushed the boundaries so others didn't have to. There was the moment he hatched a plan to have a pair of custom-made Louis Vuitton print Timberland boots. And he is, as far as anybody knows, the only male student ever in the history of Nottingham University to regularly use a 3-way mirror when going out. I asked a few of the Nottingham boys for memories at university, and this mirror featured on almost everybody's list. Perhaps it was necessary. At the time, Joe was rocking the most outlandish haircut anyone's ever known. It involved 7 different styles and various colours that came together in perfect unity. Asymmetric doesn't really cover it. Bizarrely, conversely, people began to follow suit. And before long, there was a ridiculous hairstyle everywhere. Like some latter-day Pied Piper, he would walk through the streets and people would follow his lead. Other memories include an understated personal number plate, V999 Joe, and his tendency to vomit on cue when refreshed and vulnerable. And then There were the hair straighteners. Girls and boys. There wasn't just one pair, there were three. 3 pairs, including the thin pair that he claimed were the male pair. But none of this, let me be clear, none of this dampened Miss Wilhelm's ardour for Joe. She's a tenacious girl, and she knew that a beautiful, cashmere-clad, Ray-Ban rocking butterfly would emerge from the bleached blonde, aggressively straightened, Louis Vuitton print chrysalis of youth. She was there through it all, through thick and thin. I remember one night, Joe had resolved to throw himself headfirst across every table in Ocean nightclub. And I mean literally, a Klinsmann dive across every table. Eva looked on with a wry smile, a complex mixture of adoration and disgust crossing her lips. I think by this stage she may have been too far gone. I've travelled with Joe on this great journey, and I've got to know many of his close friends, many of his partners in crime. I feel privileged to be asked to stand here today as best man, partly because of the extraordinary friends he has. Firstly, I thank our school friends. They've come a long way to be here. They're gentlemen all. So boys of the North. And I also wanted to raise a particularly warm toast to the groomsmen, Raj, Al and Reese. Without you, without your support and guidance, I don't know where this may have ended. Someone needed to veto those midgets. When I asked friends for a comment that might be used to sum Joe up, unsurprisingly, many said he was a perfectionist. They said he'd always go after the best. The best player at school, on the pitch, the best in class at university. He'd have the best skirt on uniform day. He'd have the best mirror at university. Well, tonight he's got Eva, the best wife he could ever wish for. Joe is quite simply a magnificent human being. A kind, talented, generous man, an enthusiast for all he does. He makes a superb friend, and I know he will go on to be a loving, honourable husband. Goga, Goran. You can be utterly secure in the knowledge that Joe will look after Eva. He'll do right by her, he'll care for her. Phil and Lindsay, don't worry. Eva keeps Joe in check. Joe, Eva, I wish you all the best. You're a glorious couple and you deserve an extraordinary life. And life I know you'll live. Please, everybody here, raise your glasses and join me in a toast. To Joe and Eva. Joe and Eva. Thank you. Papers. I lost it with the papers.